until CBS wants Mike and ABC wants Dan.
All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to SIN Sunday Sideline Report Conference Championship Sunday Post-Game Report. I'm Mike Rifkin, joined tonight Mark Oldop, Guy Halpern, Bill Murphy, and Alex Matai. Gentlemen, the stage is set for 2 weeks in LA.
Let's go.
This is honestly going to be a great one. This is the frat Super Bowl, basically. Matt Stafford versus Joe Burrow when we look at it now.
How is
This really is the frat Super Bowl. I like that. That's a great verbiage of what this should be.
Hey, Alex, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I don't think I need to.
Frat Super Bowl.
Frat Super Bowl. Frat Stafford, first off. We all know that. And Joe Burrow.
And Joe Burrow's a frat.
Joe Burrow smokes a cigar after winning games, after winning national championships. That's a frat thing to do.
That is a frat boy. It should be fun too. Two number nines, two young coaches. Yep. We'll start with the NFC title game because that's more fresh in our memories. As the Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis defeated the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 20-17. Here's some numbers. Matt Stafford, 31 of 45, 337 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cam Akers, 48 yards. Cooper Kupp, 11 receptions, 142 yards, 2 touchdowns. Odell Beckham also went over 100 yards. Jimmy G, who we will definitely talk about, 16 of 30, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And Deebo Samuel had 4 catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. He also added 26 yards on the ground. Well, let's just start with overall feeling, because the Rams decided this offseason that the guy they spent the number 1 overall pick on, Jared Goff, wasn't worth it anymore. And they said, you know what? We're going to trade Jared Goff, and we're going to trade 2 future first-round picks, and we're going to go get Matthew Stafford. This is why you go get Matthew Stafford for this moment.
Might be easier said than done, as there are several teams who are making goo-goo eyes at Marshall Faulk and stuff like that.
I mean, they weren't done. They added Von Miller and Odell Beckham in season. So, I'll ask you guys this, because I can tell from me. Watching Stafford celebrate before on the podium with Terry Bradshaw, that felt good, and it felt, I want to use the word cathartic because I don't like the word right there, but it felt good because Matthew Stafford should be amongst the elite quarterbacks in this league.
Agreed.
And he was held back for 12 years in Detroit. Do you guys agree, disagree?
I absolutely agree. When you look at Matt Stafford in his years in Detroit, we saw how talented of a quarterback he really was. And, Aaron Rodgers even said this too. When they asked him about him and his ability to throw the deep ball, he said, there's another guy in the league that can throw a deep ball just as good as me, and he's in Detroit right now. And, it's like that type of stuff. Every quarterback, every team out there knew how good Stafford was. It was just his defense was never good, and his offense somehow would always collapse on him regardless. The team would collapse, and the coaching system failed. But to see him out there, I still cannot fully believe it, just because this has been one of my biggest hopes these past few years, is finally just see Matt Stafford get that chance. And when they made that trade for him, and I was like, wow, this is the perfect opportunity for him. Granted, did I know it was going to happen? No, but this was obviously a much better chance than wasting the rest of your few years in Detroit. But just seeing him out there, and not just that, he made a mistake early on in the red zone throwing that pick, but this fourth quarter, he helped to rally that team back as well. And what he's accomplished this year and what he has done shows not only does he belong with the elites of the NFL, but this could honestly, if he wins this Super Bowl too, this could build a big Hall of Fame case for all we know now.
And I couldn't agree with Connor more than that. When you look at the team, they're not the bright young 20s, just got out of college and all that. This is a team built on veterans. And veterans have a lifespan of 5 to 7 years. You've already wasted 2 of those years already. They're down the garbage. Next year, if they can put it together and they put a team on the field with what talent pool they have in the organization, I'm not going to say they're going to go to the playoffs, but I think they can challenge for second place in the AFC East.
Wait. Time out. We're talking about the Rams, Mark. Did anyone else hear AFC East or NFC East?
I did. Yes.
I heard Rams. That's why.
You said NFC East.
Okay.
All right. Forget it. We'll keep going. Bill?
Yeah, my thoughts, and I think what you guys are saying is true. Matt Stafford is a good quarterback. I always have said that I think he's underrated because I think Alex said it best. He's been held back in Detroit, or was either Alex or Mark, was one of you two.
I think we both said it.
I think we agreed on it, so it's must be true.
Okay, so anyway, but the thing is, it's like everyone, because he just didn't have a good system in Detroit. The coaching staff, do we even need to get into that? And I think when he was coming to Los Angeles, I was thinking, okay, now that he has a better coach and a better system, maybe this would really show his true potential. And this really showed it tonight. Matt Stafford is finally going to the Super Bowl. And okay, you guys said, I want to throw something to you guys, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
You said he should be considered an elite quarterback. So would you put him up there with Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, or
Josh Allen?
I think he's probably in that next tier if he's not up there.
I would say, I mean, Mike, you could probably agree with this too. It's probably like, when you look at what he just said too, you got 5th or 6th right there for Stafford right now, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's a great range to be in when you look at those quarterbacks we just mentioned.
Obviously, all time, we're not going to go all time because Tom Brady, everyone else. But if you're looking at the range he played in this year, think of some of the quarterbacks who had down years.
Yeah.
Who we could have considered for the top 10 coming into the Baker Mayfield comes to mind. Big Ben just retired. So he's dropped out. This was the year to see. This was the year to see, is Stafford really that guy, or is he a guy who pushes stats on a bad team late in games and he could come? The dude's legit. That's why he's a number 1 pick. So even if you don't want to put him with Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, he's definitely in that 6 to 10 range, and he's finally getting that recognition because he's playing for a team who. Any sport, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, it's about the prime time ratings. In Detroit, you're on prime time maybe once. If you're lucky, you get a Monday night game. The Rams, it's LA, the stars are out. Leo was at the game tonight, for crying out loud.
Yes, he was.
So you're going to get 4 or 5 games in prime time alone, plus national TV. But here's the big thing for me, and this is where think about who he's gone through. He went through the Cardinals, division rival, Kyler Murray, a guy we were talking about early in the season, MVP candidate. He went into Tampa and he beat the Bucks. He may have beaten the Bucks so bad he beat Tom Brady into retirement, for all we know.
The immortal one is human.
And then tonight, he beats the 49ers, the team who, let's be realistic, they've owned the Rams recently. They'd won 6 in a row coming into tonight. And I'll be honest, at 17-7, when George Kittle scored, I thought, game's over. I did. I believed it. Not that I didn't believe in Stafford. It just had a bad vibe. Now, it's positive vibes only, and Matthew Stafford gets to play a home game in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. And I think that's the best case for him. Like he doesn't have to travel. It's not neutral site. He's going to have a ton of Rams fans. He's going to have a ton of support. I think you got to feel good if you're the Rams. Although I will say this, because I'm going to move off of Stafford. I thought it was a rough night for Sean McVay. I thought his clock management was not good. The usage of the two challenges blundered me.
I don't know what he was doing. I really did not know. Not to cut you off there, Mike, but like
Right.
when you look at it, I was like, when he made that challenge on, when Juszczyk had the ball, when Kyle Juszczyk had the ball, you're thinking like with the guys up top, you'd think they would see that he was already down easily, and he was down for a while before that ball like let go of the ball. You would think Sean wouldn't have called that. You like wouldn't have the challenge, and what happens? You lose a third timeout. They could have that could have really screwed them. That really could have screwed them late in the game.
And my thought was this: first of all, you're down to one timeout, but two, and this was the other part that got me because we listen to these rules guys often, and you never know the rules, so they have to have the rules guys explain it. The referees never signaled who had a clear recovery. So at that point, I'm like, this call's going to stand no matter what. The Niners are going to retain possession. You're going to, and then
burn your timeout.
And then it's funny because I'm watching the game with my brother, and my brother goes, Kyle Shanahan's now going to go for it. And he's going to get it. And I'm just like, you're right. And then Garoppolo lines up, and I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going to get the first down here. Now they didn't run a play, but but man, I thought his clock management was weird with the timeouts, the challenges. I mean, his defense bailed him out late, so I'll give the defense some credit. Stafford came on late, and listen, Cooper Kupp, he's not gonna win it, but tonight's the reason why Cooper Kupp could legitimately be the NFL MVP. He was that good. I think he converted 6 third downs tonight. He was the recipient. Oh, and you go out and get Odell, and he has 100 yards. So that's a
and what was it? 13 games with 100 yards or more, I think.
Including playoffs
record.
That's the record.
Playoff record. So
and I just want to point the one thing that really changed the game was after Stafford threw that deep pass that should have been picked when we all watched.
Jaquaski Tart.
Then all of a sudden, Odell literally responds right back, making a great catch right there. And I think that's what changed the tide right after that was getting that catch and, of course, luring in that penalty right there.
The catch and then the tack on the 15 for the unnecessary roughness. Yeah, that game changer because you go from change of possession to all of a sudden the Rams are – I don't think they were deep, but they're now into the Niners territory and at least in field goal range. So that was a big spark. And, I think the other number I look at is, as I look here, I mean, the Rams didn't run the ball effectively either, but the Niners, who pride themselves on running the ball, they ran the ball for 50 yards. They were not. It was
the Niners running game was basically, I don't want to say abysmal, but sort of abysmal.
It was non-existent, really.
It wasn't.
And I'll be honest with you, I love what they have. I love Ayuk. I love Debo. I don't know how you don't. I love George Kittle. And I think Elijah Mitchell came. And I think there's sort of a complacency at times with certain teams. I'm not just saying it's the Niners. It's we get away from who you are. And I thought that was the Niners. Maybe not the last possession of the game where he throws the pick, but the second to last possession where he can't get anything going. I'm just like, well, you got some timeouts. You could try to run it a little bit. And you go with Jimmy 3 times. And to me, that's never been who they are. And I'll be honest, I'm not going to put all the blame on Jimmy Garoppolo because that's not fair. But a lot of it was on Jimmy Garoppolo because when he was good, he was good. When he wasn't good, he was leaving his receivers out to dry. I mean, that big hit on Debo. Oh,
brutal.
Kittle a couple of times. It's just – and now the back of your head has to wonder, is that your lasting image of Jimmy G as a 49er?
honestly,
Yes.
when you look at it, it probably is. And, Jimmy, I don't dislike Jimmy, but, Jimmy has been carried by his team. We all know that. And, the sad thing about, Garoppolo, he did make a nice throw to Kittle when he got the touchdown. But at the same time, when you look at why the Rams made the move to get rid of Goff and bring in Stafford, there's kind of a similar situation with the Niners where you're going to have to get rid of Jimmy and bring in someone who can really sling it right now and maybe a better quarterback that Trey Lance can learn at least 2 years under. Or another
Patchy,
year.
I really hope Patchy's listening because that guy.
And we all know who we are thinking
We all
about.
know
when
who
I
it
said
is.
that.
That guy's in Green Bay currently.
We all know.
Yeah. But yeah,
His initials are AR.
AARP. But yeah, that's the lasting image for the Niners. We'll see what they do going forward. But it is the Rams who will move on to the Super Bowl, and they will take on the upstart Cincinnati Bengals.
Never thought we would say those words, would we? The Cincinnati
No.
Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
No.
Never thought I would say those words.
I'll be honest. I said it this morning when I was on with Mark and Patch, and I said on Wishbone before the season, I said Zach Taylor's got to be. We did predictions, and I said Zach Taylor's going to be the first coach fired. He's done. It's over. Boy, do I look like an idiot now. Although that's not saying much, but the Bengals go into Kansas City and they beat the Chiefs 27-24 in overtime. Joe Burrow, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon at 88 yards. T. Higgins, 6 for a buck of 3. Patrick Mahomes, 26-39, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Travis Kelce had 95 yards and a touchdown. Joe Burrow can get the headlines, and I think that's fair and phenomenal.
Yes.
The Bengal defense in the second half held the Chiefs to 3 points.
Yes.
You got to give the Bengal defense the credit.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
They really stepped up in the second half. And I just want to say really quick, I was watching the game with my dad and a couple friends, and my dad, shout out to the one and only Papa Murph, he said, and I quote, he said, this game is either going to be super close or it's going to be over by halftime. And wise words from Papa Murph. And he was right. Like at one point when it was, I think it was 21-10 at halftime. Am I right? It was 21-10.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my dad and a few of my neighbors were like, oh, this game might be done. But then you don't, like, here's the thing. It's like one of those teams, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, do not count Cincinnati out. This is a team that Joe Burrow has been absolutely on fire. And, hands down, we've said this about 6,387 times, and we'll say it 6,387 more. He's going to be comeback player of the year.
Yep.
Like this time last year, he was recovering from a season-ending injury, and now he's going to Super Bowl 56. Jamar Chase, in the words of our dear friend Mark, not enough water on this planet can cover Jamar Chase. And T. Higgins, absolutely just phenomenal. Like this is
T. Higgins is so good, he stole Chad Johnson's number.
Exactly. But this is a team that you do not want to just like count out. No. And we saw that today. And like in the first half, I was even thinking Mahomes is looking good. I'm like, I thought the Chiefs were going to win, but I did want the Bengals to win. And then like in the second half, I was like looking at Kansas City. I'm like, this is not the same Kansas City team. And Tyreek Hill basically disappeared in the second half. And that Bengals defense, like we just said, just really. I yield the floor.
Well, that was one way to do that.
I mean,
The biggest thing, and Bill, I mean, he nailed it on the head. The fact that the Chiefs went into halftime up 11. Understand that at that point in the game, the Chiefs could have been up 14. They could have been up 18. But that first half stand that the Bengals had before time expired, like as time was expiring, as a matter of fact, changed the game big time. And anyone else that tells me it didn't change the game is crazy, because that shifted the momentum from Kansas City to Cincinnati. Kansas City was not the same team going into the second half. And you can tell the body language was different. Mahomes was second guessing himself. He was hesitant. He made terrible mistakes. And the life inside Arrowhead was different. You can tell the crowd was different. This didn't feel right. So the Bengals took advantage of it. And you give them credit. You for them to score 18 unanswered, 24-3 at the end of the day. In that second half into overtime, it's pretty dope performance by the Cincinnati Bengals, and they earned their right to go to the Super Bowl.
They earned their stride. Dan, you brought up the play before halftime. I still don't understand how you don't kick that field goal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just take the short points, go to halftime, you're up 24-10. But go ahead, Alex.
When you just to look at that, when you're thinking like, okay, if you're gonna go out there, go play. The moment you don't see anything, you're Mahomes. You just throw it back of the end zone up high. No one's gonna reach it. Like, just throw it out. Just throw it out. Don't throw behind the line of scrimmage to the left of you. Like, that's what screwed you. The moment you did that, it's like, okay, so Tyreek's got to make a play. He can't get out of bounds before time expires right there. Yeah. And it just shifted everything. Yeah, and absolutely. That's what, and Dan hit it on that. That's where it all changed. And you saw a complete different Chiefs team and a completely more upbeat Bengals team going into the second half.
And you said it right there with that play. But if you fast forward even to the last drive of regulation, he wasn't confident. He was trying to do too much. He was trying to get it all back, and it's slow down, Patrick.
The many times that he was running backwards or trying to make a play, it's like he's trying to do a lot when he doesn't have to. You have a good team around you. You have good running backs.
You have great weapons.
Yeah, you can't trust your team. I mean, I don't know if I fault Andy Reid or the enemy for this, but it's like at the same time, it's like, you have to know the situation. You gotta get points, man. You gotta score.
I think it's overzealousness on everyone. Yeah. I think everyone was overzealous. I think at that time, and here's the thing to me, just if you take the 3, you're up 14 going to halftime, you're clean, you're good. You go up 11, and I give the Bengals all the credit in the world, but because the Bengals in the second, defensively, again, they just didn't give anything up. No. I mean, they had 4 sacks on Mahomes. I think all of them were in the second half. The other side of the ball, the Chiefs couldn't get to Joe Burrow, which is really weird because they were beating the Bengals O-line daylights in the whole first half. They just couldn't get to Joe Burrow. But
how about Joe Burrow being so calm in the second half again?
And that's something I've said. I have on the Thursday night show, Bill says too. Every week I say when we talk about Joe Burrow, I don't know where this is extreme veteran leadership quality that he is showing, as if he's been in the league 6-7 years already.
He's really mature for his age.
He has been mature out there. He has been calm, cool, and collected easily. And I don't think we see that in a quarterback in only their second year. Yeah. It was just incredible what he did out there second half. He was not phased at all, and he was ready to lead that team back, and that's what he did. Then when we look at Mahomes, looking at Patrick Mahomes, that last drive, Mike, you hit it right there. That last drive was completely different than the drives we saw last week when, 13 seconds left to tie the game. Okay. When they were down and he took the lead back the drive before that, and even the game-winning drive, there was no confidence at all on his last 2 drives to tie it and to try and win the game in overtime. And he failed that team second half, but then that whole team just collapsed second half when we look at it all together. They kind of reverted back to the first half of the year Chiefs in that second half. That's what happened.
And I can't even get mad at the defense because the offense wasn't getting anything going. They couldn't rest. You're 3-and-out, or a first down here, a first down there. You're coming back out there, and you first of all, you're not going to contain Jamar Chase all game. That's just not going to happen. You're not going to contain Higgins. They're too explosive. So you can't contain you, but you got to find ways to limit them. But I thought the Chiefs just offensively, they tried to get cute and get away from who they were.
And try to get clever.
And here's the thing. If you don't feel, I want to say this right, because Bill, you brought up Tyreek Hill. They used reverses for McCole Hardman. Use a jet sweep with Tyreek Hill.
Exactly.
He runs like I do. I mean, he's that quick.
Like I said, he just disappeared.
Right. They didn't use him. Kelsey's a stud. I really think the one thing they're lacking, and Hardman's a good player. Byron Pringle's a good player. DeMarcus Runs, they're nice players. They don't have a guy who when Hill and Kelsey aren't going, there's a guy Mahomes can trust. And that's a guy they need to bring in, whether it's in the draft, whether it's a free agent signing or a trade. They need another really good, talented receiver who's a little bit different than Hill and a little bit different than Kelsey. Honestly, he's not here. But even if they traded for someone like an Amari Cooper, who's just a possession guy, doesn't need to be perfect, I think he's someone who could fit that offense. But I'm very interested to seeing how they tinker that roster.
Or even like a Michael Crabtree type of
receiver. That's what they're missing. Some oomph, some toughness. Last year it was the line, and the line was good. Now it's time to tinker a little bit. Let's see what we can get, because this team should be in the playoffs for most years when you got Mahomes.
Yeah.
Now the problem's going to be he's going to have to sit down, relax this offseason, and say, I have to get out of my own head, because watching him, he was in his head. I give the Bengals a ton of credit, but I also think there are times he's got someone and he's pulling down, and that's not Mahomes. So either he's in his head or he's got one of his brother's TikToks on his mind. I mean, those would be the two options. But man,
so many times Patrick Mahomes feels like he has to do a lot because he is 100% the guy. Like he's going to be the one that's going to lead them to a Super Bowl if they get back to a Super Bowl. But sometimes it's as if he puts way too much on his shoulders when he doesn't really have to. Like there has to be a moment with the coaching staff or with some of the Chiefs players that have to tell him, like, hey, listen, we trust you, but you can trust us too, so that you don't have to overthink things, so that you don't have to be mentally somewhere else to try to help us.
One thing
that third down sack sums up exactly what Dan said when you really look at it.
The one at the last possession before overtime.
Before overtime. That third down sack that he took, that perfectly describes him trying to do exactly what Dan just said.
And he got lucky because he actually fumbled that football too.
He did.
He's lucky one of his linemen jumped on it. So
they jumped in the line.
Yeah, jump on it.
I just want to. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bill. No, go ahead.
Okay. But what you guys are saying is true. I felt like Pat Mahomes just looked like a scared little kid out there. Like, Pat, you've been in these situations before. And you could tell he was just like overthinking. And like, this is a guy who, with 13 seconds last week, tied the game with 13 seconds left last week and led a win to arguably, and we've been saying this till the cows come home, the greatest game that we probably saw in our lifetime. And yet, this is a guy who looked like a scared little kid.
I thought there would be a little bit of a hangover first half from that game last week. No,
they came out in the first half. They
were guns blazing first half. It was the second half. But I mean, Zach Taylor's done an amazing job. I know it's a regular season award, but if Zach Taylor's not Coach of the Year, NFL media writers who vote on that award, I'm coming for you.
Oh,
I am coming.
Mike is coming for you, boy.
So in 2 weeks, we'll have the Rams. We will have the Bengals at SoFi Stadium. We'll have Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige at halftime.
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Oh, how can D-O
double G? Come on,
that is my bad. I'm now going to blast gin and juice all day. Before we go, and because we are going to do a pregame show, we don't probably for a couple of hours. We haven't figured out the time yet. Give me one thing you guys are looking for at the Super Bowl, because next week we have a week off because of the Pro Bowl. But give me one thing you're looking forward to, Rams Bengals.
One thing I'm looking forward to is I think this is going to be a great quarterback matchup. And I think both Stafford and Burrow are going to play their absolute asses off. Sorry, Mike.
Profanity. God damn it.
But because you got a team because you got a quarterback who, I really hate to say it, this quarterback really doesn't really have a lot of years left in the NFL. And, this is a guy who we've been saying has been overshadowed by QBs like Rodgers and Brady and Mahomes and Josh Allen. And now he has to prove, hey, I'm just as good as them. I'm just as good, if not better. And it's, it's my turn. And then you have Joe Burrow, who is going to be, again, playing his behind off, he's going to be listen, this time last year, I was recovering from surgery. And now I'm here, and I said this at the beginning of the show. Sorry if I sound like a record player here, but a broken record player. But now I'm here in Super Bowl 56, and I'm showing that, yes, I am the future. I am in that new generation with Mahomes and Allen and all of them. I am the future. And you know what? Here's a little interesting fact here. If the Bengals win, Joe Burrow will be the first person to win a national championship, a Heisman, and the Super Bowl. And he'd done that, and if the Bengals win, he's going to do that all in just 3 years. So I'm really looking forward to Stafford versus Burrow because, again, you got one quarterback who's been completely overlooked, and you have a quarterback who is starting to come out of the gates. So I think it's going to be a fun gunslinging match next week.
All right, Alex?
Just to make sure, you're referring to quarterback, the first one to do it, not player, right?
Oh, quarterback, yes.
Because I was about to say, the first
Alex,
thing in my mind is Charles Woodson did that.
Okay, first of all, I apologize, and Alex, thank you very much. Thank you.
Don't disrespect my Michigan boy like that, man.
Charles that was on me. I'm sorry.
Hall of Famer Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
But yeah, going off of what Bill said, what I'm looking forward to in this matchup, he highlighted especially the offensive side. We're excited to see this. This could be the best game. We have to see the best game of Matt Stafford's career right here. He can't make any mistakes out there. It's all or nothing, this one right now. And, to see Joe Burrow and what he can do right now in his second year in the league after coming back from ACL tear last year, this is going to be something else, especially the run he's had in Stafford. This proves he belongs right now, and he needs to have the best game. But I want to look at the defensive side here. When you look at the Rams, especially, I'm excited to see that Rams defense, especially, Aaron Donald tonight. We saw him running out. He's like holding out his finger, holding out like ready for a ring. That's what he wants. He's hungry. He really wants it. He missed out a couple years ago. He missed out a few years ago. He wants it now, that more than ever before. And not just that, Von Miller. Von Miller has been chasing this second ring, and now he has an incredible chance to do so. And what he has done these past weeks in the playoffs and towards the end of the regular season has truly been remarkable. And he has been that second leader in command with Aaron Donald. So for those two, I'm expecting, what I'm expecting here is like Von Miller is like the DeMarcus Ware of that Broncos team, and Aaron Donald is the Von Miller of that Broncos team. When you look, that's the kind of performance those two need to put on in the Super Bowl right now.
And think about who made the play on that interception to end the game. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's the guy in that backfield. He wants it. He knows he could get it. Dan, give me one thing you're looking forward to Super Bowl.
I'll give you two, and I'll make this one really quick. The fact that we're going to see 9 versus 9 in the Super Bowl. So that'll be interesting. But definitely Matt Stafford. Because I know, for the longest time, bunch of mediocre teams in Detroit, never really got a huge chance. Obviously, a lot of players left too that could have been the huge core. But the fact that he's finally getting a chance to actually do something in the playoffs, he's 3-0 in this playoff. And, him going to the Super Bowl with a very good franchise, I want to see how he actually performs in the Super Bowl. I want to see a big time top draft pick finally getting his chance to show him what he got. Not in Detroit. He's in LA. And it'll be so good to see him win. It'd be really good to see him win. And it's going to be amazing to see how that LA Rams team in their own house is going to perform. Hopefully it'll be just like how Brady and the Bucks did it at their own house. They're going to cover that place. Take care.
So I've got two things as well. One, Andrew Whitworth deserves it. Rams legend, Bengals legend as well, but he deserves this at 40 years old. And then feed me the matchup. Jamar Chase versus Jalen Ramsey. We get that. Oh, baby, that should be a lot of fun. And I believe can someone correct me if I'm on this? The Super Bowl is going to be NBC this year, correct?
I think so, yes.
Yes.
All right. So Chris Collinsworth's going to tell you he loves everybody, but don't let that ruin the game for you because it should be a fun game. We're going to come at you with a pregame show in 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. We may even do a SIN Sunday Sideline Report next week for some fun stuff. We'll wait and see on that. We'll let you know. But for Bill Murphy, Alex Matai, Danny Boy, Reginald, Dan Ryans, Mark Oldop, Guy Halpern, I'm Mike Rifkin. You've been listening to SIN Sunday Sideline Report, Conference Championship Game Post-Game Edition. Yes, that is a mouthful. Everyone enjoy the week off from football unless you're really going to enjoy the Pro Bowl, which is fine. But have a good week. Enjoy it. And namaste.
Namaste.
Oh, my